Hello everyone. Welcome to week 11 and in the Xfinity series at Daytona International Speedway. Gonna kind of walk you guys through some qualifying tips because obviously this is a pretty draft dependent track, being wide open throttle most of the time if you're out in the lead. So, you have a couple options. You have 1 or 2 lap qualifying if you're gonna do 1 lap qualifying, which is more often quicker with this car. Is you're just going to be maximizing kind of short shifting, putting it forth and building that momentum a little bit slowly. Ultimately, just not to put any more added pressure into the tires for build up. So we have to keep the car dynamically lower. But let's walk through some of the lines here in 3 and 4 for build up. You're just going to use these dash lines for ultimately your markers, say above, and the seam if you need to. Like you're just going to do the least amount of wheel corrections as possible to keep it straight without scrubbing speed. The same thing for get to the D-shaped oval here. Use the dash lines to turn in. Have the line be as close as you can. Start exiting right near that dash line as well. And then you're going to cut down, put this left front on that seam that breaks initially and then comes back into the banking of turn 1, obviously that we just went through. And just wrap this bottom. We're going to actually do the same process. Make sure we're not scrubbing speed. Come up above the seam. Use this seam as a tool, a straight line, and then you have a Daytona logo on the wall here for this seam as well to start turning down into turn 3. Keep it straight as possible and use loaded banking corners so you're not scrubbing speed or using too much wheel scrub by breaking free. So turn 4 you can kind of have a pinch exit if you want, let it come up to the seam close to it, and then actually we're going to cut this yellow line for some added time. So that's a lap of qualifying at Daytona International Speedway. I would like to show you guys a outside perspective for sure to view it, and so we can kind of just debrief on it. Some small debriefs towards kind of maximizing our momentum, and we'll just do it from the onset of the lap. So let's just get back a little bit here. We're obviously going through the gears at this moment. But again, you're short shifting the 4th if you want. That's just 1 lap, and I've always been a 1 lap guy for these plate tracks, majority of my Coke Series career. So when we're kind of putting this into perspective, you're just not building that pressure as much. But you might also have to do 2 laps, honestly, this week because of the directional change in wind and actual speed that you're going to have. It might be more lucrative to actually throw away that first lap, completely do away with it, just pace around above 100 until you get to the start finish line. After you get to or you can even you can go to middle 1 and 2 after you get off of turn 2. It's probably going to be better for you, and just keep your momentum all the way full song from that point on throttle. So as you see in 3 and 4, I was talking about use that seam or the dash lines as a commitment for your out lap to build your speed. You're going to cut this again. Use that dash line as a tool, and you're going to be as close as you can at that line. But the exit, and these are always more active that you have to be transparent, is out the exit of the D-shaped oval and your entry, you want to be as straight as possible so you're not scrubbing speed. And you can see I'm not right on top of this yellow line, and that's design, so we're not getting right on top of any even more bumps. So as you see on this straightaway, a tool again that we're going to look at is Daytona sign. We're going to start turning down to have a straighter entry in the 3. And this is really just what qualifying is just not scrubbing speed and just keeping the car smooth. Don't tense up. You really do not want to tense up for these laps. This is an easy lap to kind of produce and just have some smooth corrections and smooth wheel input. And this should be a good avenue for you guys to have a good success point for ultimately qualifying. And when we go into some of these races as well, and we'll talk about that, you got to have some friends obviously that you're working with, and you want to work with teammates more often than not that are really going to rely on pushing you and have some success. So more often in these scenarios, you're at some risk, obviously, assessment with your competitors in this avenue, but as long as you guys can kind of time your pushes right, you're going to have some temperature issues when you push for too long, and more often in this situation on night conditions, it's probably going to be even worse because the speeds are higher. So you might have a lot of options to just, hey, keep the engine cooler than your competitor next to you, and then just time that push you need to, or time to keep those competitors behind you, keeping them hot with their water temperature and oil temperature. So excited for this week. I think we're going to have some good progress in really what we can achieve as a team. Daytona is something special for everyone to win at. It's one of the most chaotic races you'll have in any series on the eNASCAR side. So I'm excited for this week, and it's going to be a good avenue for us to kind of push some team success and really mitigate some some errors with pushes and stuff like that. So moves are going to happen. Just be proactive with working with each other, and you guys should have a good success. So thank you guys for checking out this narrated run, and this should be a good avenue for you guys to keep looking into week to week on pushing some narrated aspects to you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in.